Alright, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today's motovlog is going to be about the Yamaha R3. The R3 beginner video is probably one of my most popular videos, and for good reason. I mean, the Yamaha R3 is a really appealing bike for new beginner riders, and the people who are going to be watching YouTube videos and the people who are going to be doing the research are beginners typically. You know, they're going to be looking for new bikes, they're going to be looking for input on them, and the R3 is a relatively new beginner bike on the market, and I can honestly say that after riding this bike for, you know, the occasional couple of months that I've been able to, I really enjoy it. After coming from a dual sport, I realized like how fun of a bike it is, and I realized like what I'm missing out on. Because it's a cool bike. I mean, in terms of like coming from a 250 to a 320, you know, this bike has plenty of power. To me, like I'm a lighter rider. Like, as I've told you guys before, I'm really lightweight, so the power to weight ratio is like, it's pretty much just the bike on its own. But this bike has plenty of get up and go for me while I'm riding it. And of course, this is coming from my point of view, where I haven't ridden anything bigger than this. Well, I've taken a ride on my best friend's XR650, but that's kind of a different, that's in a different class on its own. But from what I can tell you guys about this is, you know, it's a fun bike. It's really, it's as quick as it needs to be. You're not going to get in too much trouble. You can go quickly if you want to, but there are better highway bikes out there. And for a commuter, this thing's great. I mean, I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to get this as like a commuter bike if you have, say, a leader bike or an adventure touring bike or a dual sport. Just because it's small, it's nimble, it's relatively cheap. It's cheap to insure, it gets great gas mileage. You know, it's responsive, it's a good little bike. But it goes back to what you're expecting out of it. You shouldn't be expecting R6 power out of the R3, it's just unreasonable. What you should be expecting out of the R3 is a comfortable seating position, very, very mild power, and really just all around comfort for a sport bike style. Because there are plenty of people out there who ride sport bikes, you know, as their daily riders, and it looks uncomfortable, and I can probably bet that, you know, it's very uncomfortable. But this bike, I mean, it's uncomfortable in comparison to the XT, but it's still very comfortable. I mean, I could honestly say that I could ride this thing for a couple hours and be fine. But then again, you know, your mileage is going to vary, and you know, your seating position is going to vary because, you know, everybody has different body geometry. But like, look at this. I'm cruising at 74 miles an hour, and it's just comfortable. Like, you guys have seen me do this commute. This is the same exact road on my XT250, and my bike is like struggling to do it. But for this bike, I'm just gonna roll it on, and there we go. We're up to 82, 83, 84, 85. 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, and like, yeah, I was wrapping her out right there, but she can still go quick if you want her to. The average speed here is about 75, 70 miles per hour on this road, and on the XT, you know, I can honestly say that it's not a safe road to be on with that bike, but on this bike, you know, it's fine. I feel fine. I can hang with traffic. I can accelerate when I need to. I can get out of a dodge. if I need to. Wow, look at this guy, he's riding me. But one thing that I can say about this, that that both this bike and the XT250 don't do very well on, are the crosswinds. This bike doesn't weigh very much. It only weighs, I think, like 300 pounds or something like that. 325 if that wet. But anyways, you can look that up. But yeah, I can feel that, you know, as soon as a crosswind hit me, you know, I'm feeling it. There's direct input from the wind that translates to movement on the bike. And of course people are going to say, you know, that's common, you're going to feel it. But it also, like, I'm just telling you, that's what I feel. That's my input on what it's like to ride this bike. And you know, it's a great bike. It feels good. It's just a good feeling bike. It's really smooth. And for commuting, I say, like, if you're on the fence about it, in the 300 series class, you have the R3, you have the Ninja 300, and you have the CBR 250. The CBR isn't really even worth thinking about, just because it's so underpowered in that class for the street bike look. Like, if you're gonna go with the 250 style bike, you might as well either go with an old Ninja 250, save yourself some money, and then just get the kinks out of the way where you're learning how to ride, or go with the dual sport so you can do more stuff. But in terms of like splitting and stuff like that, you know, this bike is a little bit wider than the XT, believe it or not. The mirrors sit a little lower, but the thing is, this bike has a really wide base. It's got wide fairings and wide turn signals. So, I mean, of course, you can put shorter turn signal stocks on there, but as it sits right now, just stock. You know, it's wider than the XT. But in terms of commuting comfort, it's not as comfortable as my XT, but it definitely does have the get up and go to move around the city and get me where I need to go quickly. And it does have some passing power. I mean, I don't have the experience of, you know, a 600 and above, but from what I can tell, this bike, it feels good. It feels like it's quick. But I mean, like, that was full throttle, and you're not gonna, like, honestly, I'm an introductory rider. I'm a new rider. I've only been riding for about a year, and I can say that if I was on a you know, an R6 or an R1, that amount of power that I've input into the bike that I was asking for would have been too much, because I was pretty much 3/4 of full throttle, and I probably would have looped my bike. But the thing is, with this, you can do that, and you're not going to get into trouble. You're not going to loop your bike, and you're not going to wheelie on accident, and you're not going to get that whiskey throttle moment. But with the R3, it's safe. It's a safe bike, and it has great styling too. Like, I hate to say it, but this bike looks really, really good for the amount of money that you're spending. It looks like its bigger brothers. It looks like the R6. It looks similar to the R1, but you wouldn't be able to tell it's an R3 unless you look at the, you know, unless you look at the forks, unless you look at the tire size, and unless you look at the badging. You know, it looks good. It looks like a really fast bike, and it looks like its older brothers. It looks like the big boys. And as an introductory rider, you know, that's something that you want to look at, because you want to see your bike. You want to see yourself on your bike, and you want to think, man, I look cool right now. Because really, why else? Like, that's a big reason to buy a bike, is like that cool factor. And you want to be on a cool bike. You want to look like you're really cool. And the R3 is just a cool looking bike. I'll roll in some pictures that I took of my brother's bike when he first got it, and it's just great. It's a great looking bike. It has fantastic styling. It looks faster than it is. But coming from the 250 and coming to this bike, I see the appeal in this bike. Now versus like starting off from a R3 versus an R6 or, you know, a leader bike, you know, that's up to you. I can't speak any experience on that. But what I can say is the brakes are pretty good too. Ooh, yeah. So what I can say from my experience is coming from the 250, like I see the appeal in the 300 series bikes because they're fun. They look cool. They have good styling, they're quick, they're really responsive, they get great gas mileage. But, you know, it's the same thing with my XT. Like, there are some times where I want more power, and this bike, brand new off the showroom, cost my brother somewhere around $6,000. And at that point, you got to remember that there are a lot of other bikes in that range that you can purchase for that have, you know, you tack on $2,000, $3,000 more, and you're in really fast territory. Like you're looking at a properly fast bike. And you know, the 300 series bikes are great. They're fantastic. They're not going to get you into trouble. They're going to teach you the basics. And they're going to give you the appreciation when you do hop onto a big boy bike of, you know, what speed really is, what throttle control is. But this, as an introduction to motorcycle riding, this is great. It's fantastic. It's fun to ride. Like, I've been riding for a year now, and you know, this bike it still feels like fun. Like, I could travel up the California coast on this, or you know, just grab a cup of coffee, and I could see this being a daily rider. And if that's what you're looking for, then fantastic. If you're looking for a bike that's not going to punish you for making a bad move, for throttling into a corner, for you know, from dropping the clutch too early, then you know, this bike it might be for you. Honestly, the best thing I can do is suggest that you ride one, assuming you have that capability or that ability. Like, ride it, because I wish I could have ridden this bike when I first when I was purchasing a bike, because I probably would have got this because it's so fun to ride. Really, you know, it goes back to doing your research and doing your homework. This is a fun bike. It's really fun. But after riding the 250, after riding this 300, I can already tell that this would be a bike that, you know, I still want more power with, you know? It's fast, but it's not fast enough. Because, like I said, California is really quick, and, you know, this bike is great to learn on, but really, it's if your skill level, you're going to reach a plateau eventually, and your skill level is going to surpass the capabilities of your bike. And this is a great bike to learn that threshold on, but it's a $6,000, you know, lesson. I mean, it's better than, you know, spending $8,000 and then wrecking it on your first ride out. But that all goes on your mentality on riding and how safe you should be riding and stuff like that. But you know, there's plenty of different ways to look at this. And really, I can say that after riding for a year and after riding the XT and riding in California, this is a good California city bike. Is it a good California highway bike for commuting for more than 2 hours? I would say no, but then again, you're talking to the guy who rode an XT250 from Monterey to Southern California in one day. So, like, I would personally be able to ride this for the 2 hour commute, but I don't think some of you guys would be able to. It just doesn't have enough power, like, in that 70 to 90 range, which is where California really travels at. That's the pace of California highways, is the 70 to 90 mile per hour. Or it's the 0 to 20 mile per hour where you're lane splitting, and then this bike would be perfect. It'd be perfect for lane splitting. But yeah, I wish I got this bike as my first bike, because it'd be a lot of fun, and you know, it's really easy. It's really easy to ride. But anyways, guys, I hope that gives you some insight onto the Yamaha R3. The reason why I'm riding this is because my XT250, I'm getting the taillight replaced on there, and I'm waiting for the parts, so I have it all taken apart. But I'm waiting for the XT250 to get some parts in, and then I'll be back on my bike. But we'll see. It's supposed to come in 2 days from now or something like that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any more questions about the Yamaha R3, just feel to drop them in the comments. If you have anything to add, just feel free to let me know. Because, you know, I want you guys to make an informed decision whether you're purchasing a new bike or you just want to figure out what's out there on the market right now. And, you know, I just hope that you guys have a great day and good luck trying to find a new bike. Maybe the R3 might be for you. But until next time, guys, have a great day, and just remember, no one's watching, and peace out. Yeah, this is a great bike. This is perfect right here. Just like the mild amount of traffic, still comfortable. Good bike. Get you to A to B. Get you from A to B. Real nice. Alright guys, hey, so we're going to add a little addendum to the Yamaha R3 kind of vlog that I had going on earlier today. So I just got out of work. It is currently like, I think like 8:30, but it's cold. It's like 40 degrees. And I'll tell you what, I'm going 70 miles an hour right now, and one thing that I like a lot more on this bike than on my XT is I feel protected. As weird as that sounds, like the fairing and stuff that I have up here, it really gives that feeling that, hey, it's like a false sense of security, but what it does is it keeps that wind off of my head and chest, and it just makes it a lot easier to ride. Like honestly, right now, I'm super comfortable. Like I was just thinking that if I really wanted to, I could do a Southern California to Central California trip on this, no problem. Just because it's just chugging along at 70 miles an hour, and it feels like a solid bike. I mean, I'm gonna stick with what I said. It doesn't have enough power in the 70 to 90 range, but you shouldn't be going that fast anyways because it's illegal. But it just doesn't have that kind of go that you need it. But if you're gonna stay within the laws and you're gonna get quickly from 0 to 65 or 0 to speed limit, this is an awesome bike. It's fantastic. If you're on the fence about this bike and you're within the means of this bike, like you don't want to take it on, you know, I don't know. You just have to know what you expect. You just have to know what you're gonna get when you get this bike. I mean, you shouldn't expect this to be some racetrack monster or some highway killer or some jigsaw eater. Like, this is gonna hang with some pretty quick cars, but this is not like a crazy fast bike. But what it is it's quick, and it has that real illusion of speed, and you know, it feels good. It's a good feeling bike, and I didn't really say that earlier in this morning's vlog because it didn't really set in until like I wasn't talking, and I was just riding from my work to home, and then I started to just like, I started to get to feel her up. I started to feel her up. I started to get a feel for her. But dude, it's an awesome bike. It's awesome. It's fantastic. And if you're on the fence about it, like, I'm gonna be honest, it's a hard move. It's hard because I come from the XT250. Of course it's underpowered. Of course there's, you know, whatever, I overpaid for it. But this bike, it feels so good. You feel fast. You feel fast. Like, I feel cool riding this bike. As crazy as that is, like, it's the middle of the night right now. You can't see me, but I feel like I'm in Tron on this bike. Like, after riding my little dual sport all over the place, that thing is my donkey, and it'll get me anywhere that I want to go within my limits. It'll actually take me beyond my limits. But this bike, it just feels like it's made to go quickly. I don't want to say go fast, because fast is different than quick. But it just feels good. It feels like a race bike. Like, you want to get tucked down, and you want to tuck your elbows in, and you want to lay on the tank. And what this bike does is it instills a sense of confidence in you. And as a new rider, you need that confidence, because if you're not riding confidently and you're riding scared, you're gonna get into an accident. But with this bike, it just feels good. It's a good feeling bike. And I'm in a tricky situation because I'm riding my brother's bike and I'm falling in love with it, you know? It's like that girl that you flirt with at work, but you're already in a relationship. It's like the grass is always greener on the other side kind of thing. But this bike, it just, man, I keep comparing it to the XT because that's all I know. But it's so cool of a bike that I don't have anything to really knock it down. I mean, of course it costs a lot of money, and of course it's not a fast bike, but if you're starting off, can you really handle that much speed? Are you really responsible enough? And to be honest, like, I'm not. If I had an R6, R1, FC09, I would have probably crashed it, or I probably would have gotten a million speeding tickets by now, because I have that need for speed, you know. And this bike gives you that feeling of speed when you're just zipping around town. And it's like that good old debate. Would you rather drive a fast car slow, or a slow car fast? And this bike is somewhere in between, because it's quick. You're going to be riding it hard as you get into motorcycle riding, and as you get into, you know, a higher skill level. But that doesn't mean you're not going to have fun with it when you're wrapping it out. Like, I have fun wrapping out my XT because I know, like, on the street, that just means I can handle this bike perfectly. That just means I'm ready to move on to an R6. But on the dirt, the XT250 it's a lot more capable than I am. And that's where I have to practice, and that's where a 250 is not going to punish me, you know? But this bike, I don't know, it feels so good. It's so nimble. Like, it just instant feedback. It just wobbles back and forth. It's like your mind, as soon as you put input into it, it just gives it to you. And it's so relaxing to have a bike that's like that, where you're not fighting the bike is helping you to actually ride better. And of course my scope of knowledge is pretty narrow, but from what I can tell you guys as an honest review of this bike, is it's surprising. At first I was in doubt of the 300 displacement bikes, just because I thought, it's a waste of money. But there is a ton of utility in this bike. There's a ton of fun to be had on a bike like this, on this exact bike. And I've had a lot of fun on this bike. And I'm kind of jealous that I didn't buy this bike at first. Like, it's fun, and it brings joy to my heart to ride this. And it just, oh man, it's just awesome. as a beginner bike, this would be perfect because it teaches you that responsibility, but you can always see the plateau at the end, you know? Because if you're feeling a little daring, you can go ahead and open her all the way up and then feel that kick in the nuts when it gets into, you know, the 7,000 past 7,000 range, and the bike is really going and you're really going, and man, it just feels good. But I don't know what else to say about this. It's just, at first I had my doubts about it, but now it's just fantastic for around town. I mean, if I get the chance, I'm gonna ask my brother if I can take this on a long trip, about 300 miles, and then, you know, I'll pay for his, you know, second service or whatever. But if he lets me, I'm gonna do a comprehensive review on this, because it's a from what I've seen so far, my, you know, couple hundred miles riding this, maybe 120 miles riding this, it's fantastic. I can't see too many flaws with it for the amount of joy that it brings. And man, I'm surprised. I'm so surprised at this bike. So surprised. At first, like, I wondered why people even considered buying bikes of this displacement if they only did the street. You know, if you're gonna buy a 300 level bike or below, it better be able to do, you know, it better be fun for one, it better be your personality, and it better have more than one purpose in your life. But for this bike, you know, you can practice your basic skills, you can practice cornering, because it's so responsive. Like, even on the road, dude, it feels good. And I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me say that, but you know, there's a lot that you can learn from this bike, and there's a lot that this bike can teach you. Should you get this bike, if you're thinking about it, I'd be hard pressed to find another bike in the class that feels as good, because it's awesome. It feels good. It's not a crazy amount of power, but it rewards you for doing things right, if you know what I mean. Like, if your shifting is on, if your body position's correct, if your knowledge of how the bike works is actually, you know, implemented, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Because I say that I'm a somewhat okay rider. I'm still a beginner rider. I still have a lot to learn, but I can tell that this bike, I wish I had this bike to learn on, because I would be so much better of a rider at this 1 year mark if I would have used this as a tool to start learning with. But anyways, guys, I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys found this informative. I hope you guys have a great day, and until next time, this is No One's Watching. Have a great day, and peace out.